3, 2, 1. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Project Maydie. Sorry for the late start, ladies and gentlemen. Had some crazy hijinks going on today, but I got some groundbreaking, I almost said ball-busting news, although that is probably true as well. So let's get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute catastrophe as always. America's on fire. We have a puppet presidency, and everything seems to be just spiraling out of control, with ships just sitting off the coast of America right now, waiting to be pulled in. We see the food prices going up. We see the prices of lumber, copper, nickel, gas prices, inflation out the wazoo. And once again, we have a puppet presidency going out there telling everyone it's just fine. This is just the start of Build Back Better. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Even though we only added a few 100,000 jobs last month, little do you know that 5.4 million people left the workforce in the last month. So again, we are looking at a resignation, and we are looking at a country that is no longer working, and you can clearly see it. All you have to do is go to the gas pump, go to your local food store, look at the prices climbing on all the clothing you go to buy, all of the toys, and all of the stuff for Christmas and Thanksgiving. They're going out there and ultimately saying that you should be buying your Christmas presents right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're not even near the end of October yet, and they are saying that many of the things that you would love to have are no longer here. All the while, they're allowing people to flow in through the southern border in order to pick up all of those jobs using the workers' permits in order to permeate a massive serf class that is the American people. So let's get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. This first particular story, particularly for YouTube, I'm going to kind of go off the cuff here. It's very, very messed up what I'm about to show you, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just want to highlight just how messed up this world really is. What's going on, B. Hayes? School officials covered up daughter's Schrape. Now NSBA, the National School Board Association, wants to make him a domestic tar. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. So get this. We have a man in Virginia, I believe it is it Loudoun, Virginia. The story out of Loudoun, Virginia is a man who becomes the poster child for domestic tar after his daughter was shraped is pretty high on the list. Scott Smith was arrested on June 22nd at a school board meeting that was deemed an unlawful assembly after attendees voiced opposition to a proposed policy expanding special prosecutions to transgender students. Smith was dragged from the event in handcuffs, his pants falling down, his lip bleeding. He was charged later with disorderly conduct for resisting arrest. So get this, ladies and gentlemen. Come to find out that this particular school had a nice little cross-dressing boy that walked into the girls' bathroom and, well, trying to keep this child friendly, but sodomized a 14-year-old girl. And the school, because of the politics of it all, because of transgenderism and the absolute mental illness that's going on across this country, thought it was better to cover that up, to cover up the sodomy of a 14-year-old girl, because they didn't want to let everyone know that it could possibly be a transgender. Reality is, it wasn't a transgender in the first place, so it was a boy who happened to like to cross-dress. He was bisexual, and he happened to sodomize this girl, only later to do it to another girl. And you know what happened, ladies and gentlemen? The school kept it quiet. They kept it quiet that a young 14-year-old girl was sodomized by another student. They were too scared from the blowback against the alphabet crew than actual victims, actual sexual assault victims. That's the world we're living in today. So, sorry guys, stuff like this gets my blood boiling. It's absolutely insanity what we're dealing with right now. Sorry. People care more about their fifis, they're more about their feelings, than people being attacked, than people being assaulted, than people being sodomized. This is the world we're living in. I'm getting to the point to believe that through this CRT messaging, through this absolute race hustling that's going on across the United States and our public schools, that in 5 or 10 years, these people are going to be arguing that if they are not allowed to penetrate your child, that's right, if they're not allowed to penetrate your child, then you're a bigot. Because at the end of the day, If you're deconstructing everything, if you're deconstructing race and you're deconstructing gender and you're deconstructing everything that has to do with the patriarchy and white America and white supremacy and all of this evil in the world, right? The ultimate end goal would be that there is no meaning to anything. So, I mean, what is a child? I mean, if a man is not a man and a woman is not a woman, then why would a child be a child, right? I mean, it only makes sense, because if you're going to deconstruct everything to have no meaning and words have no meaning anymore, then a child is not a child. It's just a pre-adult, right, guys? I mean, like, come on, like, what's the big deal? It's normal. It's normal. These people are sick. They are demented and they are evil. This is cultural Marxism in action, trying to break down the fabric of our society, and we must do everything in our power to stop this evil. So again, that's what we're dealing with here in the school boards. Unity, tolerance, equity, all this bullcrap is ultimately the cultural Marxists stepping in order to take over everything, including your family. The family unit is the last thing that they're going to go for. And believe me, they're doing a hell of a job, because they have cheerleaders who think they are resisting, while they have every corporation, every multimedia conglomerate, every internationalist, every big tech, everything across the board. The ADL, right? The Anti-Defamation League. They have every single institution under their control. You probably saw it yourself. The CIA, through their recruitment, were looking for woke people. Woke! So awake! It really is unbelievable what is happening to our country in such a rapid succession. It blows my mind just how far the left has fallen. Unbelievable. For those of you who haven't seen, I'm sorry guys, my throat is killing me today. Alright, for those of you who haven't seen, the border is essentially wide open. There's videos going all across the web where essentially they're just walking around the wall. Just walking right on in. No one's stopping them. No one is trying to deter them. And they are simply pouring into the country. We are witnessing an invasion. And the left cheers it on. They cheer it on because they care. Sorry, guys. They care. They care so much about the people of color. They care so much about poor people and the working class. They care so much about unions. And yet when thousands, apparently to this document, over 160,000 illegals entering this country just since March. If those are the people that they have caught since March, you can bet your bottom dollar that this country is going to look at around 500,000, if not more, illegals walking into this country. And what that's going to do is affect you and your wallet. Those low-paying jobs, those jobs that people that apparently the left are fighting for, those low-paying, low-wage workers are not going to be able to get those jobs anymore. Because what they're going to do is they're going to keep these people in limbo. They're going to keep them from not being a citizen. They're not going to actually make them American citizens, but they're also not going to deport them from the country, all the while giving them a worker's permit, right? And for those who don't even seek a worker's permit, those people are also going to be hired on, and they are going to be paid broke wages. They're going to be paid $5 an hour, $6 an hour, $7 an hour. It's no big deal. On top of that, the Department of Homeland Security has told the Border Patrol agents and ICE to stand down from actually going to the places where these people are employed and enforcing the actual law of the United States, meaning that there is no enforcement arm to actually stop these companies from hiring these people. None. There's no enforcement, meaning there's no law. A law without enforcement is not a law. And that's what we're dealing with here. The rapid decline the rapid decline of the U.S. Jeez, guys, my throat. I'm really sorry. All right. But don't worry, guys, because there's a game plan. And the game plan, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Biden. Joe Biden, all hail King Biden, the greatest, most majestic president in the history of the United States. The gentle, beautiful, moderate, who simply goes on the television and decrees his will to the people. King Emperor Biden, we love you. Please stick the needle in my arm, Joe, please. I love Joe Biden. Biden says his game-changing plan is to open ports for longer and have truck drivers drive at night, which will fix the supply chain chaos. After Psaki said White House could not guarantee Christmas gifts would be delivered on time. So all of those people that have been working throughout the pandemic, right? He just wants them to work more, all the while firing people for not getting the vacuum, not sticking the vacuum into their arm, guys. It's amazing. What these people don't understand about bottlenecks, and believe me, when I was in the Navy, we dealt with this quite a bit. If we happen to get a backlog and we were trying to catch up on orders, it only compounds, just like interest. If you get behind just a few days, all of a sudden, all of that stuff's coming in at once. You don't have the manpower in order to unload it. And because of that, it just continues to build and build and build and build and build. All the while, they're going to fire all of these people. It's awesome. It really is crazy. So, if you haven't gotten your Christmas presents yet, ladies and gentlemen, start looking right now. If you got a nice bonus coming in, you know, obviously I would highly recommend maybe not save your money, but invest it in something that's actually going to hold its value. Where that mean crypto, and by the way, this is not financial advice. Whether that be crypto, I don't have the coof, by the way, guys. Sorry, I was out. All right. Whether that be crypto, whether that be gold, whether that be silver, whether that be, you know, even things like homes, things like vehicles, things like land, things like that are tangible, tools, obviously food. You got to be ready for what's happening, because when this bubble bursts, it is going to make 2008 look like a freaking party. When AIG was bailed out, when all the big banks were bailed out with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and all the absolute corruption from top to bottom, when all of that happened and people were jumping off of rooftops because they lost their savings and the government bailed these corrupt bastards out because they are working in tandem. And they've been doing it for a long time. I think people are finally waking up. So, for those of you who haven't seen, whoa, can't show that on the old YouTuber. Whoa, what was that? If you are pregnant, or if you are planning on becoming pregnant, this is not medical advice, but if you are in your first trimester, this is not medical advice, but if I was to do some, let's say figuratively, right? You know, I'm a trans, guys. I'm a trans, okay? And I'm having a baby. And I'm in my first trimester. I might not want to get the vacuum because based on the evidence that I've found and the scientific study that they used in order to calculate whether or not the vacuum was super duper safe, guys, you might just want to look into it. Might want to look into how they lie with statistics. God, I can't talk, guys. They lie with statistics. We're going to get through this, guys. God, I'm so sorry. This is definitely my roughest show so far. I'm dying. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Nope, can't show that. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who haven't seen this completely amazing, just normal, everyday clip, nothing wild, nothing out of thin air. This is basically what is happening when you take a media doctor, right? And you put him in front of somebody like Joe Rogan, who's just asking common sense questions. Take a look.
Don't you think that even with a breakthrough infection, untreated, you're probably more vulnerable than the average child who is not vaccinated, who gets COVID? Like people have died who are double vaccinated. In fact, there was a guy who just won an Emmy
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, the odds of that happening to a healthy child are very, very low.
Very low.
But that guy is probably your age. How old are you?
I'm 51.
Yeah, he's about your age. Theoretically, you would be more vulnerable than a young child would be. You vaccinated would be more vulnerable of a breakthrough infection than a young child would be, statistically speaking, right? But you're not worried about
catching. They're
both
rare.
But
Guys, you need to know something. More children in the United States have died from RSV than all of the COOF. And many people don't even know what RSV is. So look it up. More children in the United States have died from RSV this past year than have died from the COOF. Just look it up. Another thing you're going to want to see is this.
you're not worried about catching it. You're not worried about catching it because you've been vaccinated and you think it imparts a certain amount of protection.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying to you is I think that not worry is the same feeling that a lot of people have about their children. They're not worried about their healthy children catching it for the same reason you're not worried about catching it being vaccinated. That if treated correctly, they think that the child probably has a better chance even than you do because you're 51 years old.
I think...
Does that...
I mean, they're both...
That seems reasonable, right?
Well, I think it's...
Guys, this really is amazing. These political pundits or these TV pundits or TV doctors, when they are actually questioned from someone who's going to press them on the actual issue, they fold so fast. They fold quicker than, I don't even know, what can fold fast, guys? Something quick, something that folds fast. This dude is an absolute monster. And Joe Rogan is right here, simply asking very basic questions, simply laying out that people do not feel comfortable putting something into their child. And people just act like it's crazy. But again, guys, more children have died from RSV. Look it up.
I know the story about this 53-year-old
But you see
guy.
what I'm saying? Like with your attitude that you're not worried about catching it because you've been vaccinated and you're a healthy guy. That is the exact same feeling that people have about vaccinating their children. If they have healthy children and they know that statistically speaking, there's so few children that have died from COVID.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there are. It's like, I think 500 or so children
out of
have died
millions and millions and millions of kids
that probably have been exposed.
Yeah.
But you know, it's again, part of it is not defined.
And see this? They're always just answer the question. Just answer the question. Just answer what he is giving you. But again, he's going to try to pull something out of his nice little bag of tricks, change the topic, but Joe Rogan puts him right back on the right path.
Finding this in terms of life and death. I think.
But do you understand my point?
Well, are you suggesting I get boosted?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is your attitude about not being concerned because you have antibodies and you think you would get through it even if you had a breakthrough infection. That is the exact same attitude that a lot of young people have where they don't want to get a shot because they're worried about the consequences, even though they're incredibly small.
Consequences of the vaccine.
Incredibly small. But the VAERS report, they do have deaths.
For those who haven't seen, we are over 16,000 listed mortalities from this particular vacuum. You can look it up the data yourself. Bell's palsy, myocarditis, as well as a host of other stuff, guys, that we can't talk here on YouTube. But feel free to look it up yourself. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys, because I am dying. I can't feel my throat. I'm really sorry about this one, guys. I will do better for you guys tomorrow. B Hayes, thanks for stopping in, man. You're freaking awesome. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to stop by. The only people worried about the cooties are the people who got the vacuum. That is a fact. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, Project Maydie wrapping up here. I'll have another episode for you, Ray, tomorrow, probably sometime in the afternoon. Thanks for stopping by again and watching the absolute dumpster fire that is the U.S. See you guys next time. Love ya. Peace.